My girlfriend of 5 years introduced me as her roommate at her work party. When I confronted her, she said I was lucky she kept me around at all. I agreed and apologized. The next day, I moved out while she was at work and left a note that said, "Good luck paying rent, roommate." She's been calling ever since. Before we start, I just want to say thank you for being here. It means the world. But take a look at this. Only 8% of people watching are subscribed. If you enjoy these stories and want to support more of them, just one click makes a huge difference. Ever had your entire life flip upside down in a single evening? I have. One moment I was helping my girlfriend of 5 years prepare for her company's annual gala, and the next I was hearing the word that would unravel everything: roommate. Some background. I'm Noah, 38, marketing director at a mid-size firm. My girlfriend, scratch that, ex-girlfriend, Vanessa, 36, is a pharmaceutical sales executive. We met at a charity golf tournament, moved in together after a year, and built what I thought was a solid relationship. We weren't married, but we discussed it. Had names picked out for future kids. The whole package. The problem started 6 months ago when Vanessa received a significant promotion. Regional Director of Sales. Impressive title, substantial pay increase, and suddenly she was traveling twice a month to conferences and regional meetings. I supported her completely, took over more household responsibilities, rearranged my schedule to accommodate her new demands, even helped prepare her presentations when she was under deadline pressure. Looking back, that's when things began to shift. Small things at first. She'd mention her colleagues but never suggest I meet them. Our photos disappeared from her social media. She started dressing differently, wearing outfits and makeup styles I'd never seen. When I complimented her, she'd say, "It's what professionals in my position wear." The implication being that I wouldn't understand, despite my own executive position. Last month, her company announced their annual gala, black tie, spouses and significant others welcome. Vanessa initially told me the event was employees only. I only discovered the truth when I overheard her on a call discussing what her colleagues' husbands would be wearing. When I confronted her, she claimed she was just trying to spare me a boring evening. After some discussion, she agreed I could attend. I even bought a new suit for the occasion. Nothing outrageous, just a well-tailored Armani that cost $3,000. Wanted to look appropriate for her big night. The evening of the gala arrived. Vanessa looked stunning in a black designer dress I'd never seen before. The event was at an upscale hotel downtown with an open bar and gourmet catering. I was actually enjoying myself, making conversation with the other guests while Vanessa worked the room. That's when it happened. Her division VP approached us, hand extended toward me. "So you must be the roommate," Vanessa mentions. I waited for her to correct him. "Actually, we've been together for 5 years, I'd expect her to say, or, "This is my boyfriend Noah." Instead, she nodded. "Yes, Noah and I share an apartment downtown. It's so convenient for commuting." The VP made small talk for another minute before moving on. I stood there, champagne glass frozen halfway to my lips, trying to process what had just happened. "Roommate?" I whispered once we were alone. She shrugged. "Don't make a scene. Graham is a traditional guy. He values family and thinks workplace relationships are unprofessional." "We don't work together," I pointed out. "And since when is having a committed relationship unprofessional?" "You don't understand corporate politics," she hissed. Then she plastered on a smile as another executive approached. For the next 2 hours, I was introduced as her roommate, or simply Noah, to at least a dozen people. Each time, a little more of my patience chipped away. By the time we got home, I was seething, but determined to have a rational conversation. "What was that about?" I asked as she kicked off her heels in our entryway. 5 years together, and I'm suddenly your roommate?" She sighed dramatically, like I was a child who couldn't grasp a simple concept. "It's not personal, it's professional. My relationship status isn't relevant to my career." "Not relevant? You invited me to a partner's event. I invited you because you kept pushing the issue." She poured herself a glass of wine, not offering me one. "Honestly, you should be grateful I keep you around at all." I blinked, sure I'd misheard. "Excuse me?" "Let's be real, Noah. I'm on track to make senior leadership in 2 years. My career is taking off. Meanwhile, she gestured vaguely at me. "Comfortable?" "I'm a director at my company," I reminded her. "I make 6 figures. I've supported every career move you've made. She rolled her eyes. Your company has what, 50 employees? Mine has 20,000. You're a big fish in a puddle. She took a sip of wine. Face it, you're lucky I've kept you around. Most women in my position would have upgraded by now. The words hit like a physical blow. 5 years reduced to charity she was bestowing on me. I realized I had two choices. I could fight, argue, try to make her see my value, or I could agree. I chose the latter. You're right, I said quietly. I haven't been appreciating your success properly. I'm sorry. The sudden capitulation caught her off guard. Her expression shifted from contempt to confusion, then satisfaction. Well, I'm glad you understand. I do now, I assured her. It won't be an issue going forward. She seemed pleased with my response. We went to bed without further discussion, though we slept with more distance between us than usual. She left early the next morning for a breakfast meeting, still wearing the diamond earrings I'd given her for our 4th anniversary. As soon as her car pulled away, I began executing the plan I'd formulated during my sleepless night. First, documentation. I took photos of everything in our apartment, focusing on items I'd purchased. Our lease agreement, which was in both our names, but on which I'd paid the security deposit. Bank statements showing my contributions to our joint expenses. Screenshots of my monthly transfers to our shared account that covered 70% of our rent and utilities because my puddle of a company paid me pretty well. Next, I made calls. To my bank, my lawyer, my boss. By noon, I had set everything in motion. Then I packed, efficiently, strategically, took only what was unquestionably mine. Clothing, personal effects, family heirlooms. Left behind anything we'd purchased together. Anything that could be considered a gift to her. I'd actually contacted a moving company the night before while Vanessa was sleeping, explaining my situation without the emotional details. Need to move out while my ex is at work tomorrow was all I needed to say. They'd heard it before. The premium for next day service was steep, but worth every penny. The movers arrived at 1 p.m. as scheduled. By 3, the apartment was half empty. My home office, gone. The living room furniture I'd brought from my previous apartment, gone. The expensive entertainment system, gone. The original artwork I'd collected, gone. Even the fridge and washer-dryer combo that I'd purchased when we moved in, gone. What remained was a partially furnished apartment with noticeable gaps like missing teeth and a smile. I left behind our bed. She could keep that memory. The kitchen table she'd picked out. Her clothing, of course. The decorative items she'd selected. I wrote a simple note and left it on the kitchen counter. Good luck paying rent, roommate. I've covered my half through the end of the month. But here's where the story takes a turn. I didn't just move out. I moved on with a plan. Remember when I said I made calls to my bank, lawyer, and boss? Here's what that was about. Call 1. Separating our finances. Not just closing joint accounts, but initiating a complete financial audit of our relationship. Every shared expense, every trip, every gift, documented and assessed. Call 2. Reviewing our legal entanglements. We weren't married, but we had investments together. Real estate interests, a shared vacation property ownership agreement for a cabin upstate, legal ties that would need careful untangling. Call 3. Implementing my career contingency. 6 months earlier, I'd been offered a position at a major firm in Chicago, nearly triple my current salary, but I'd declined because Vanessa's job was here. Now, I called to see if the opportunity was still available. It was. What I didn't know then was that Vanessa had been living a double life far beyond just calling me her roommate at one work event. Later that afternoon, as I was checking into a hotel, I received a call from an unknown number. It was Graham, Vanessa's VP, of all people. Noah, this is awkward, but are you and Vanessa still together? Confused by his question and his possession of my number, I asked how he'd gotten my contact information. You gave me your business card at the gala, he explained. Said to reach out if we ever needed marketing consultation. I kept it because, frankly, something felt off about your situation. I confirmed that Vanessa and I had just broken up. There was a long pause. I thought so. Look, there's something you should know. The reason I called you her roommate last night is because that's how she's been describing you for months. But she's also been seeing someone else, Charles from legal. They've been quite open about it at work events you weren't at. The floor seemed to drop from under me. How open? PDA at the last corporate retreat, sharing rooms on business trips. Everyone assumed you two had some kind of arrangement. I thanked him for his honesty and ended the call, my hands shaking. Not just a roommate, but a convenient cover for her affair. This revelation changed everything. My measured response now felt inadequate. The carefully calculated exit seemed too gentle for the deception I'd endured. So I initiated phase 2. What I now recognize was going nuclear. Within 48 hours, I had 1. Withdrawn my portion of our shared vacation property investment, forcing a sale at a terrible time in the market. 2. Notified our landlord that I would not be renewing the lease, which was up in 60 days. I paid my portion through then, but made it clear I was removing myself from any future agreements. 3. Contacted the HR department at my now former company to decline their counteroffer, explaining I was relocating due to personal circumstances. Mentioned my significant other's relationship with someone at her company had made my position untenable. Didn't name names, but left breadcrumbs. 4. Posted a single social media update announcing my exciting career move to Chicago, tagging several mutual friends who would ensure Vanessa saw it. 5. Called my cousin who works at the same pharmaceutical company in a different division. Shared what had happened, knowing the office gossip chain would activate. The calls started that evening. First from Vanessa, dozens of increasingly frantic messages. Where is all your stuff? Are you seriously moving out over one comment? You can't just leave like this. The rent is due next week. Why is Simone from accounting asking me about Charles? I didn't answer a single one. Then came the text that confirmed I'd hit my target. They're investigating me and Charles for non-disclosed workplace relationship violations. What did you do? Still, I didn't respond. By day 3, her tone had changed completely. Noah, please, I'm sorry. What I said was horrible. You were never just a roommate. Please call me back. I didn't. By week's end, I'd signed the contract for my new position in Chicago, put a deposit on a lakefront apartment, and was preparing for my cross-country drive. That's when I heard through mutual friends what had happened. Vanessa had been placed on administrative leave pending the investigation. Charles had apparently claimed she had pursued him aggressively, showing their text exchanges to save himself. Her carefully constructed professional image was crumbling. The cabin we bought together was sold at a significant loss, with her portion hit hardest due to the withdrawal penalty. The landlord had already listed our apartment for new tenants, meaning she'd need to find a new place quickly. With damaged credit from our joint accounts, I'd closed. 2 weeks after the gala, as I was packing my car for Chicago, Vanessa showed up at the hotel. The composed executive was gone, replaced by someone I barely recognized. Eyes red, hair unkempt. I wasn't surprised to see her. My hotel wasn't a secret. I'd used our joint credit card to book it initially before switching to my personal card, knowing she'd see the transaction in the statement. Part of me had been expecting this confrontation, though I wasn't sure if she'd actually show up. Was this all because I called you my roommate? She asked, her voice cracking. No, I replied, the first word I'd spoken to her since leaving. It was because when I objected, you said I was lucky you kept me around at all. I didn't mean it. I was stressed about work and showing off for the married guy you've been sleeping with? She flinched. Graham told you. Everyone's told me, Vanessa. Apparently I was the only one who didn't know. I made a mistake, she whispered. Several mistakes, but destroying my career, my financial security, that's disproportionate. And there it was, the moment I realized I might have gone too far. Not because she didn't deserve consequences, but because I'd never intended to be the kind of person who engineered someone else's destruction. My righteous anger had curdled into something uglier. You're right, I admitted. Some of what happened, I didn't anticipate how it would cascade. Then help me fix it, she pleaded. Talk to HR, tell them you made it up. I never talked to your HR department, I said truthfully. That was all internal, and no, I won't lie to protect you. She stared at me, mascara streaking down her cheeks. I loved you, you know. It wasn't all fake. I closed my trunk. Funny thing about love, it requires respect, which apparently even as your roommate I didn't earn. I got in my car and drove away, watching her shrinking figure in my rearview mirror. Chicago was waiting, a new job, a new start. It's been 6 months now. My career at the larger firm has taken off. Turns out my skills were marketable beyond my puddle. I've made new friends, dated casually, built a life I'm proud of. Vanessa still calls occasionally. The most recent update from mutual friends is that she's been reinstated at work, but demoted. Charles was transferred to another division. She's living in a much smaller apartment in a less desirable neighborhood. The designer clothes have been sold on consignment sites. Sometimes I wonder if I went too far. If triggered by betrayal and humiliation, I became something I never wanted to be. Vindictive, calculating, cold. Other times, I remember her face as she dismissed 5 years together, the casual cruelty of someone who thought I should feel lucky to be kept around at all. The truth lies somewhere in between. I didn't just move out. I demolished the life she'd built on the foundation of our relationship. Was it proportionate? Probably not. Was it what she deserved? I'm still not sure. What I do know is this: I'll never be anyone's roommate again. And if that $3,000 suit taught me anything, it's that sometimes the price of self-respect is high, but worth every penny. Edit. Wow, this blew up overnight. To answer some common questions. 1. Yes, I regret how far things went. My intention was to exit with dignity, not torpedo her entire life. Some consequences were natural results of our separation, others were from her own actions being exposed. 2. No, I didn't directly report her to HR. I mentioned the situation to my own HR department when declining their counteroffer, and separately told my cousin what happened. The company investigation resulted from internal gossip, not my formal complaint. 3. For those saying I should have just talked to her, I tried. Her response was to tell me I should be grateful she kept me around. That closed the door on further conversation. 4. Some have asked if I found someone new. I've dated, but I'm taking things slow. Trust doesn't come easy after something like this. Update. 3 months later. Life continues to improve in Chicago. The firm promoted me after I brought in 2 major clients. I've started seeing someone, a corporate attorney who introduces me as her boyfriend without hesitation. Vanessa's life has stabilized somewhat. Through mutual friends, I heard she's seeing a therapist and working on personal growth. She sent me a lengthy email apologizing without excuses. I appreciated that, but didn't respond. Some chapters are better left closed. The cabin finally sold after months on the market. My lawyer handled everything, splitting the proceeds according to our original investment. It was less than either of us hoped for, but fair. Looking back, I realize we both caused damage, her with her betrayal, me with my response. The difference is, I can acknowledge my part in it. That's growth, I suppose. For those wondering if revenge feels good, not really. It feels empty once the initial satisfaction fades. What feels good is rebuilding, moving forward, and realizing your worth wasn't dependent on someone else's validation all along.